All right, happy holidays, everybody. It's now December 2023, so it's time for another round of testing. Um, I am going to make a couple adjustments. So, at the end of the fall season, um, I kind of started dealing with a little bit of bicep tendonitis in my arm, which isn't that unusual for me. So, I can't really do a lot of the pulling tests, so I'm not doing the one arm pull up, the campus board, and the front lever. And the weighted pull-ups, which unfortunately is kind of the majority of the tests I did in the summer. But hopefully in the springtime or at the end of winter, I'll be able to do that again. The few adjustments I'm going to make is I'm going to do another hangboarding session, but I'm also moving forward going to swap that out and use the tension board, or sorry, the tension block, and do block pulls from the ground with the 10 millimeter edge. And basically, the reason I'm doing that is just my body weight can fluctuate, a decent amount. So if I'm hangboarding with like plus 50 or plus 55 pounds, that might actually be less load than when I did it in the summer. So doing block pulls, I can kind of adjust the weight exactly, or set the weight exactly to with just like weights on a loading pin. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I'm adding is I'm going to test wrist strength. So I think that wrist strength is actually pretty important, not just for slopers, obviously, but for crimps and stuff like that. And it's more important than a lot of people think. So I kind of have like a homemade wrist wrench, I think it's called. Basically, it's just a PVC pipe with some athletic tape in the middle for some grip. And then I just wrap this cord around it. So as you can see here, the cord is kind of coming in from like one end rather than the center. And so basically it's gonna want to like twist on you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically be trying to put my wrist in a flexed position. It's kind of hard to see. I'll do it upside down. In a flexed position like this, as this is wanting to spin away from me. As a test of wrist strength. And the last one is going to be a body tension test that I'm adding, which I didn't do last time. And I'm just going to be using a good old ab wheel for that one. So let's get testing. All right, results time. Finger strength going over just the hangboarding is virtually the same. I mean, last time I was able to do the plus 55 pounds for 8 seconds. Didn't quite hit that this time around. I only did it for like 5 to 6 seconds, so I failed on that rep. But I mean, I could also be a little bit heavier this time, so it's, virtually the same. The full crimp was quite a bit better this time, so I wasn't even really able to establish body weight on the 10 mil full crimp, but this time around I could do a pull up, and it felt not that comfortable, but definitely a lot more comfortable than last time. The one arm hang on the Beastmaker is pretty interesting, quite a bit worse this time, and I'll talk about a little more about why I think that is. But yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't quite get through, the polling ones. But if I had to guess, I think I would also be quite a bit worse at those this time around too. I think my arm strength has gotten actually a little bit weaker over this fall season. The split stretch is basically the same, 64 to 65. I haven't been that diligent on my stretching as much as I should be, but an inch isn't bad. I'll take that, but virtually the same. So the new ones are, the 100 pounds block pull on the 10 mil, 7 reps on the ab wheel, and 30 pounds for a 2 rep max on the wrist wrench. I feel like this whole fall season, I basically didn't do any training and just was like climbing as much on granite as much as possible. So I did feel like my arms actually got a little bit weaker, like my arm strength and my pulling power. And I think just in general, like most climbs outside, you're not really using those muscles as much. So I'm not really surprised to see my one arm hang kind of get a little bit weaker on the Beastmaker. And that's also kind of why I think that, if I tested some of these pulling ones, they would be quite a bit weaker. But also goes to show that you don't really have to be like have really strong arms or have really strong pulling power to excel outside. This was my probably most successful season of climbing, and my arms kind of deteriorated in strength. That being said, I'd like to get it back a little bit, keep my arms strong so when I do encounter some powerful dynamic boulders outside, I can kind of get up them without too much trouble. This time around at the end of the fall season, I felt like I lacked power to do a couple boulders, so I'll try to get that back up a little bit. But I thought it was pretty interesting to see the full crimp get quite a bit stronger throughout the fall season, even though my arms got weaker. I feel like that's not really a grip I use much indoors. I don't know, something about just whenever there are crimps inside, I don't really need to full crimp them as much. But climbing outside on granite, there's a lot of times where I get kind of above my hands where, I need to reel in those granite crimps. So I'm kind of in this full crimp position. And seeing my performance kind of improve throughout the fall season on rock, and then also seeing my full crimp get stronger, I feel like for me to excel more outside, that's I need to get my full crimp up to par with my half crimp. So that's going to be something that I'll have to focus on, and maybe a better predictor, at least for me, than the half crimp. So that'll kind of be another focus for this training cycle coming up. If I think of more exercises or more tests to add at the end of this training cycle, I'm going to test those. But yeah, thanks for watching.